never told anyone what I found because they would have called me what they always called me. A mad old fool.
Robert Pearson?
Mr. Robert Pearson.
Do you think you'd still recognize a good script if you read it?
Your minutes are numbered.
What's the bounty up to?
When you're here alone with him, do you feel safe?
You're trying to destroy me.
You can't push him like this.
You're not gonna keep me cooped up in there anymore. What?
It's not giving up.
I know.
I wish I could help you, but this only moves one way.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Saving a Seat. We are here saving you a seat for yet another great set of films that we're going to talk about here today. And it all starts with myself, Joe Compton, and the one and only.
The man, the myth, the legend, often imitated, never duplicated, but too sweet to be sour, Brian Tan.
That being said, you all just watched the trailer to Watching Mr. Pearson, our first film that we're going to talk about here. And I have a lot to say, Brian, but I'm happy to let you open us up here and tell us a little bit about what you thought of Watching Mr. Pearson.
So let's just say that, home and healthcare workers, you got to take your hat off to them because it's a thankless job. And the people that you're taking care of, they appreciate you, but they don't know how to appreciate you also. I've done this. I've been a home healthcare provider, and it's a tough job. And watching Mr. Pearson, being that I've done the job, there's aspects of it where I'm like, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. It's just a movie.
It's interesting when you get those meta experiences, right?
Right. And what's weird is that I've changed careers so often that I have meta experiences with everything I seem to watch at this point.
Sure, yeah.
But so Watching Mr. Pearson is about a once famous actor who, unfortunately, his mind is giving way to dementia, and he's got these two healthcare workers that focus on him. They work 12 hours on and off. One thing that really stood out to me was the relationship that he has with his female worker. It's funny to me because when it comes to, guys, a lot of us, we when we are of sound mind and sound body, we're really able to sort of form these relationships with each other. But when we're infirm, it's like we gravitate toward women. And I think a lot of that is because there's that mother complex of being protected. Certain age, I guess it's a paternal need.
Yeah,
you need someone to take care of you. With
it's also part of the subtext of this movie, where there's a certain something that he's longing for that he's not had, and it's a regret of his, and it's kind of that's what triggers a lot of this for him.
Right. And his relationship with Caroline, played by Dominika Zawada, it's a really wonderful relationship because you see, the man was an actor, so she acts out scenes with them.
Yeah.
And it was so fun and lighthearted. But then when Miguel, played by Luis Rizzo, he tries to take care of him in a more traditional sense. And Miguel was also afraid to express his talent.
Yeah.
But it's funny how
I kind of get the impression he took this job to kind of give him some not an into the business, because Pearson at this point would be out of the business, but give him some kind of barometer and where he is in terms of how
correct.
I think he looked at this as an opportunity, right?
Yeah, it's one of those where you take opportunities where you can
the jealousy factor of the two of them, the two nurses, comes into play with that.
Right, because he wasn't able to make that connection with Robert, where Caroline is able to make that connection almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And where she lets him, have some freedoms, where Miguel tries to control him.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, man. His advisor, I just wanted to reach through the TV and like strike.
Yeah, that was a tough scene there.
Those are some tough scenes because it's how we as a society here in America, how we treat our elders and our infirm. You know, we start to denigrate them and disrespect them, and you know, we try to say, well, we're just trying to be upfront, but no, you're being an asshole.
Yeah, we tend to forget there's a human person behind these elements, and these insurance companies and stuff. The predators, for lack of a better term, are not engaging in the human sense of this. We should mention Hugo Armstrong plays Mr. Pearson, he's fucking amazing in this movie. But the one thing that struck me and it was interesting to me is how many of these movies we're going to be seeing over the next 10, 15 years. This is going to become a norm in the lexicon, especially in the independent film world, because these are reflections of what our society is going through at the time. And you know, we're all getting older. People are living longer, and these things are happening a lot more, and we're seeing a lot more of this. I loved the homage, the clever little opening, the homage that it pays to old Hollywood. I thought that was very nice.
I love black and white narration.
Yeah. I just love how it sets up what we're going to experience later on, which is kind of an interesting little foreshadowing that really is ineffectual to the story itself, but it is very affectionate toward what we feel about Mr. Pearson, right? And I think that's kind of the idea there. I really love all the subtextual stuff in this. I mean, this movie's full of beautiful saying things without saying things aspects. I love the way this looks. In fact, I think every single movie we were watching here in this episode has a very specific look that I think is very well done for its purpose of the movies we're going to be talking about. Dylan Betledge, who directed this and co-wrote it, he's really got a great grasp on. I love the way this movie's edited and put together. This movie moves very well. It doesn't utilize an empty space. It doesn't have any fluff to it at all. It
doesn't have any empty spaces to take advantage of. It's a very, very tight hour and 22 minutes from opening to end credit.
I love that it starts where it should start. You could probably go all the way back to when he got, first put into this situation and his decision making and things of that nature. Maybe when he was a little bit more lucid, even. But it starts at the moment of the decline, and I think that is the
decline's already there.
I think this is
already had this need.
Yeah, I think we as screenwriters tend to overthink this a lot, and I love that they did not do that here. I think this movie has a point, and it makes this point very well. But my favorite line was, "Damn it, don't feed me the line. I'm posing for dramatic effect."
Yeah, that was really good. What I really like is that, he's like, it's a prop gun, you nit.
Yeah.
Because, because he's gotten so used to running his scenes with Caroline that it's just like, well, I'll do it with this guy too.
I think that's the cleverness of this movie, though. It veils in what Robert believes is real or what is fake, right? And I think that is, and you ultimately see that at the end. The third act pays you off in that respect. It's because of the degrees of which he's climbing into dementia, and I think that is very well done here. I think that is so clever, the way that we go from a little bit of dementia to a more severe form of it to a little bit more of denial. There's like the stages of grief here you see go through the process of this movie. And I love that about this movie. I think it really added a lot of color to what, a lot of what was uncomfortable at times, right? And so I think that's really what makes this movie very interesting to me. I really dug this movie a lot. I ate this up with a spoon, and I thought the acting was phenomenal. The three actors that are made, even the shark, the self-appointed, shyster, is good in this movie. She plays her role well. But yeah, I just loved the acting in this movie. I love the look of it, and I love that it got you in and got you out, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. It's very respectful of your time. It's very, very respectful of pacing and the storytelling. Not a lot's going on. This is a very, very dialogue heavy, which is good. It's never a bad thing. I mean, I understand that it can get boring. I understand, in today's society, we need some pop, pop, bang, bang, car crash, boobies, boobies, boobies. But, this is a film that it alludes to what it needs to allude to, and it doesn't do it in a way that leaves you guessing. You know what's going on. And I
love
think
that he had all his old scripts. That was cool.
having all the scripts that was good too. And Hugo Armstrong did a really, really good job of bringing, Mr. Pearson to life and that struggle that he's going through with his dementia diagnosis. It really takes me. It really makes me hearken a little bit to. I wonder what Bruce Willis is going through.
Right,
it's something that's kind of similar. But at the same token, obviously they're different illnesses, but still similar. But he does a really good job at being vulnerable without being soft.
Yeah.
Like you could tell
he never loses himself, right? That's the interesting thing about it, right? He loses reality, but he doesn't lose himself.
Correct. And he even says, I'm a grown man. I can go for a drive if I want to.
Yeah.
And instead of making him feel, denigrated and disrespected, she's like, all right, we'll go.
Yeah.
I think that was, and honestly, this here is a masterclass, I think, of how our healthcare system should take care of our elders, whether they've got the money or not. I really hope that it stays in my mind for when we get to our Baker's Dozen episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of what worries me about it is that it won't, because of all the stuff that comes through, and we're doing this at such an early stage. Yeah. But we'll see. And this film
is not one of those films that knocks you out, right? It's not a memorable, like you will never forget this film. But it is a film that just with a little poke you'll be reminded.
When you give it the time, it's gonna be there.
Life could be spread by meteorites from one part of the universe to another.
Whoa, check out that view.
This is the site of the impact crater, several 100,000 years ago.
I feel like she's here.
And you're here for them both.
You must not go into those caves. Never come out alive.
Okay, this is it. Ready?
Yeah.
Ladies first. Just kidding.
Wheeler's footage made it out. That Super 8 film he took in '76.
I processed it with my own hands. That's why I know it's real. This is what he saw.
Holy shit, what is that?
Where did it come from?
You really think it's a creature?
What is that?
There are hundreds of caverns under there, maybe thousands.
We're lost, Ethan.
Let's try this way. Those bones look human.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Ethan? Nick, if that's you guys, this isn't...
Oh my god.
Welcome to TikTok, you fat fuck!
So we just saw the trailer to Bone Keeper, and an English-driven film made with a bunch of Americans, and John Rhys Davies.
How do you get a John Rhys Davies?
Howard Ford is an accomplished director. Howard Ford he's done a ton of these type of movies. He did this movie called The Ledge, where he put a bunch of people on the edge of a cliff and then had a monster in it. He's done a ton of these movies, so I have no doubt that he knew John Rhys Davies at some point. But
yeah,
it
took me a second because I'm like, that looks like Sala.
Yeah.
That sounds like Sala.
He's very gruff in this movie, which I thought was very interesting.
But, yeah, and then I'm like, no, that's not Gimli. It is Gimli.
But the thing that really strikes me right off the bat is he is so accomplished and he's so good that he warps everybody else in this movie because of that. Just that, his presence.
His aura, the main scene that he's in, like, he could have done that all by himself. Basically, for me, this was The Descent, but with like a little bit of science jargon thrown in and but my mom thrown in.
Okay. Yeah, this is very formulaic. It's very, I mean, the plot is like
you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen from word go.
As above, as so below. It reminded me a lot of that movie because of the caves, obviously. But the look of it too. The look of this film is really pristine. It's really nice.
The cinematography of this film is really, really well done.
It is. It's really good, especially when you get the monsters involved. Very nice. Very cool special effects.
Like, it was scary well, I don't even want to say scary. It was very unsettling. It was very well done. It looked just alien enough to work with a theory they initially had.
Yeah.
But just grounded enough that you don't know, which makes it even more scary. And it just further tells me I am not only do I have no desire to go explore the ocean, I have no desire to explore space, and I have no desire to explore caves. Like, I don't understand y'all folks, and I don't want to put this on a particular race.
Well, I can't, you know, with what happens in the third act, I can't believe what you have final girl status. What the fuck are you doing? You know, it just drove me crazy.
Her character needed shanked. She really did. She got on my nerves so bad. I'm rooting for the monster at that point. Look, there's some of y'all folks out there. Y'all are just way too damn curious. You get way too damn emotional with stuff. Why?
Yeah. Over a heirloom that's not really an heirloom, to be honest. But
not only that, look, I understand wanting closure for a family tragedy. I totally get.
Yeah, but you just watched 4 of your friends get eaten alive. You know?
I have to go back. See, and you know what? And that took me back to a quote from The Sandlot. If you were thinking, you wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
This movie has some timing issues. First off, let's start at the beginning. Do we really need the caveman scene? I mean, it really makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, we could have just done the 1976 thing and we would have been fine.
We just stayed there, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we didn't need that cave. We didn't need to see how it was a cool special effect. We didn't need to see how the alien got on the Earth. I mean, who gives a shit? You know, it didn't really matter in the long run.
And that also added I understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
you know, I understand.
I almost think it was because they had this cool special effect, and they're going, "Well, let's not waste this cool special effect." That's almost what it feels like.
Look, man, I put my money into it. I'm gonna get my money's worth one way or the
other.
other.
I mean, and if that's the case, if that is truly the case here, Howard, all for you, brother. I'm with you. As a filmmaker who knows you don't waste a single shot. If you have it, you use it. That is a perfectly understandable acceptance to this. Like I said, he doesn't really destroy us with 40 minutes of discovery in this. However, the one thing he does do that it really makes me mad, and I wrote it down. I wrote down a timestamp, Brian. 42:31 is the first time somebody gets killed in this movie. What are we doing in an hour and 31-minute movie that we take 40 minutes to kill somebody? It was the right person to kill. The first person to kill was the right person to kill, but they should have died 20 minutes before that. I mean, what are we doing?
I tell you what, man. I bet you they wish that they never would have gotten in that damn van that day. Bro, you could have been looking at Castle.
But that was Burke, right? You were rooting for them to die. They were so goddamn annoying. You wanted them to die.
You want to know what's starting to really piss me off in this life? Influencers starting to really piss me off. There's one or two that. There's like maybe 3 that I don't despise. All the rest,
All right.
Do something else.
I just set Brian on a tangent here, everybody.
But no, I'm not getting too deep into it. So no, look, if you're an influencer character, you need to die first. And most
in a horror movie, for sure.
In a horror movie.
If you're a misogynistic douchebag, you need to die second, which is exactly what happened. I appreciate that too.
The people that need to die in movies in the most gruesome fashion are in this order for me: the influencer, the racist, and the misogynist. They can go together, and the dimwit, the absolute dimwit, the weakest damn link.
Well. He got 2 out of 3 for you because the dimwit dies the last. They're the last one to die in the
well, no, the absolute dimwit survived.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is a final girl movie for everybody, just so you know.
It really is, but
that's not spoiling it. That's the floor.
That's just it. Yeah, but what I do like is number one, Cthulhu looks awesome in this. I call the monster Cthulhu.
Yeah, very, very apt.
It looks really, really nice. You know what it gave me traces. Now, number one, the beginning gave me American Werewolf in London vibes with
this gave me Cabin in the Wood vibes.
I got American Werewolf in London vibes with the pub and the rural setting.
Yeah,
and the creature scenes gave me the blood.
Another scene that we didn't need. We didn't need the pub scene.
The pub scene wasn't really needed. If John Rhys Davies' character was that connected to this character's family, that's who they should have been going to talk to, not these drunk asses.
Yeah. That scene would have cut 10 minutes out of actually 12 or 15 minutes out of your fucking thing, and then you would have had somebody die a lot sooner.
Yeah, but I will say that the creature scenes and the chase scenes gave me some really good vibes of 1988 The Blob, which was way ahead of its time.
Yeah, very good. I loved all of that. I loved its. It also gave me Alien vibes too. Aliens. Yes. They do it all to Aliens at the end, by the way. But we'll talk about that in a second. But
the makeup.
I have one more timeline issue.
Oh yeah.
John Rhys Davies talks about how they recovered the camera of the footage for the 1976 guy, and he shows them the footage. He does that before we see the actual how they. I was like, how did they get this camera? He said nobody survives when they go in there, right? And I'm going, how did they get the fucking camera? And then they show. It was almost like the filmmaker goes, "Oh shit, we should have showed that," And then we see it like 10 minutes later, and it's going. I'm going. What the fuck? I'm going. Okay, at least that explains it for me.
You put yourself in the corner, Howard. So that's an elbow, Howard.
Here's another in this movie when they're talking about only bring what you need. Pack take all the stuff you need in your pack. Why are you thinking a microscope is something you need in a fucking cave?
Seriously.
That thing's got to be the heaviest thing you're carrying, too, right?
If you're going to go into this cave, number one, you got to be very, very careful with what you're carrying because it's going to start getting narrow. Your packs are going to be too much for you to squeeze through. That's number one. You should have a canteen. And you should have like an actual protein bar, not these things that are all sugar.
Yeah.
But actual low sugar, high protein bars.
And a flashlight.
And a flashlight. And maybe a pocket knife or something. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Why the hell are y'all carrying bro?
Yeah, they're carrying a whole medical kit for fuck's sake.
Oh wow. This seems to be some sort of and it's hydrophobic. Why don't you
cracked me up? I love how he explained it to the dummy, the dumb jock. That just cracked me.
Look, anyone with a fraction of education knows what hydro means. Anyone with a fraction of common sense knows what phobic means. We did not need. Why don't you just put quantum in front of everything? Okay. Like there were certain aspects of this movie. I'm like, shut up, Wesley.
Yeah. This movie, for what it is actually kind of fun. And
it's fun. Look, if you like indie horror, you might like it. But this is
I don't hate it. I just wonder about these choices. Is what I'm.
Listen. I don't want to say not. Look, I'm trashing this. I'm laughing at. This is a movie that I would happily watch, and then when we're having movie night, put it on.
Yeah, sure.
And scream at because I was yelling. I'm like, bitch, run!
You know what this movie would be perfect for? A Shane Wilson drunk
review. Yes. We need to show this to Shane and implore him to get a drunk review. Unless he's getting help for drinking, then I'll risk my liver. Then I'll risk my liver. But you know what else this movie would be great for? And I don't say this to be rude. This would be great for like Mystery Science Theater 3000 or Riff Tracks. There are certain movies that just beg for that treatment. And it's not because it's not so much as a bad movie or bad direction or bad whatever. It's just
ultimately knowing what I've seen of Howard's work.
Mm-hmm.
This is his MO. I think he likes this. I think he's enjoying us.
Well, you're a filmmaker. Like, if would it bug you if like the guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000 got one of your movies and just clowned it?
No, I'm hoping. I would pray for that, to be honest with you.
See, I don't know. I've never directed a movie.
It depends on what I'm trying to do, right? It depends on that. But a movie like this, if I'm doing a formulaic movie and I'm running through the numbers here kind of idea, and I'm trying to do something uniquely, I think that's what's the power of A Cabin in the Woods, is that it allows you to make fun of these things, right? And I think this movie, while it takes itself seriously and it feels serious, it is kind of clichéing it's kind of bucking the trend in the cliches and the aspects of it and the little nuances that I think the filmmaker would know that you're noticing kind of idea, and I think you're okay with that at that point. I wrote my favorite line, unfortunately, Brian, was from The Influencer, and it was when she goes into the cam, when she's about to go into the cam, and she goes, "Delete my browser history." That cracked me up.
And she goes, "Never mind. I always come back, madam. That is flagrant false advertising."
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, delete my browser.
At that point, you knew she was not coming back.
I don't care. You know what? And honestly, I'll tell you this now, Joe. If I do die under mysterious circumstances, you can go ahead and check my browser history. I have nothing to hide.
I love the little nods to aliens at the end. I love that we get that horror ending. Very cool. Set up a sequel.
Very well done.
I love that. Let's do it. I would watch Stonekeeper too. I would too. And honestly, I knew that was a dream because the first brother in the movie that shows up and you got him as a doctor. Okay. Cool.
You're early, Andy.
Why?
The nozzle at the gym was broken, and so I was hoping I could douche here, assuming you still have running water?
It depends on what you mean by running.
I had my own dressing room with my own private bathroom at Disney.
What did you tell them?
That you have your very own 3-picture deal and you're working on your own soundstage.
You said I could create the character.
I said you could write the backstory.
I'm the star of the film. You can't do it without me. Plus, this helps me retain the title of Ass That Never Quits.
This is Trace Wiggs, my future husband. Maybe.
We're explorers, Ryan. Explorers of digital erotic arts.
Okay, papito.
Don't touch anything in here with your bare hands.
You're nuts. Both of you are fucking nuts.
What the hell is so sexy about you taking the camera and running around the action like a blind wombat in heat, huh?
I want to see how the sausage gets made.
Literally, that is what the audience expects. And what the audience expects is boring and derivative.
Derivative?
Never mind that.
All right, so our next film that you just watched the trailer for is Cutaways. And full disclosure, Mark Schwab is a friend of mine. He is the writer-director of this movie. I've seen pretty much now every single film he's done. And this was the one that had eluded me. And it's now on Tubi to watch for everybody. Look, everybody out there, you need to get past the homophobia, bullshit. That's one thing I'm going to say right away, because this movie's tastefully done. It's not porn. which is ironic because that's what it's about. But you know,
this to me was, it's in the same vein of dialogue heavy as Clerks, or in a lot of ways Reservoir Dogs, with this minimal cast, this single location. It feels like a play, which is not a bad thing. And what's really, and I think that, you said it best. You've got to check your homophobia at the door. And here's the thing. When I say check your homophobia at the door, it's okay if you're uncomfortable, but you still have to be able to enjoy the film. Like there was a scene in this film that I had to fast forward through because it took me out of my comfort zone. And that was the scene where Evan and Trace start to go further with filming. That made me feel uncomfortable, so I forwarded through. That was the only part of the movie that I had to forward through because, like I said, again, I wasn't comfortable. What I really appreciate about this film, though, is that you're getting a lot of the stereotypes of gay men that you have in movies, but at the same token, for as much of the stereotype as some are, you're also getting the person deep down of all of them, which I really appreciated.
This is Mark's superpower. He is one of the best at creating loathsome characters you both loathe and want to sympathize with because of what they're going through. But also that they have so much depth to them, and it gets revealed throughout the course of 90 minutes so perfectly. He's very, very adept at that. He's super good at that. Every film I've ever seen of his, I love the character works and the arcs that he creates because he's so good at that.
And I really enjoyed the characters. I felt like Evan Quick, you really feel for him for as much of a D-bag as he comes off as. Sharon joined me for like the latter portion of this movie, like the final quarter of the movie. And I even told her, I said, you know what, I'm terrified of ever seeing some actual success because, what if someone tries to bring up things from my past where, I've grown, I've been contrite, I've tried to do the right things, but then it's like, well, but you did this a long time ago. So you're just a terrible person and you don't deserve to be happy anymore. Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, because everyone else is such a fucking saint, right? Right. Especially where, I love how they allude to what Evan went through. And then when he finally speaks to what it was, it's like, yeah, people are trash.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that there was that deep harboring thing over top of it. Was this dark cloud that was hanging over this movie. Again, another beautiful thing that Mark does here. I'm going to geek out over some of the shots and things like that. The gentleman who plays Andy is phenomenal in this movie, by the way. I think he's a superstar in the making. And he plays it to a T. He's the catalyst for what really springboards everything else, and I won't say anything past that. But this was very Reservoir Dogs in that respect. Guys coming in, coming out, and you never leave the room focused on Evan for most of it, but he never leaves the room. This reminded me of like Sex, Lies, and Videotape, the way it looks, kind of Soderbergh.
In a lot of ways, it did for me too. I was really a fan of how James Duval came off. This was totally different than anything I've ever seen him do. I really appreciate how he's so slimy. He plays the slimy Hollywood film producer so well.
Yeah.
But at the same token, then you see he has a real human moment in a real human reaction. And you kind of like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But then you see how manipulative he is. And then it's like, but didn't you deserve it?
Yeah. The only tit that I have is the pivotal moment when this movie shifts, right? For what happens, the incident that happens. The way people reacted was very uniquely weird to me. it was just I did not understand a lot of the reaction, and that kind of threw me for a moment. You know,
it took me out of the film for a second because I'm like, I don't see people reacting this way.
Right. Nobody freaked out, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, how many times have you seen something like this happen? In
right. I mean, that might be the case. It might be that this is just not polarizing anymore. I don't know. Or you hear about maybe it's something that happens in the community and that people hear about. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that, but
of course that constant. I didn't give it to him. You earned it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy, that's the hill. That's the hill.
My favorite line in the movie is when homeboy when he's telling James Duvall's character about his trick, and he goes, "I want to see this. I want to see you do this." And he turns around and goes, "Andy, you got to help me suck my own dick." That cracked me the fuck up so hard. I was like, "Oh my god!" And he's talking about how he has to hold his ankles. Oh my!
Sometimes it helps get me going when another guy's holding my ankles.
That cracked me up so much. I was laughing. I probably missed some really good dialogue in there because I was laughing so hard for that.
The dialogue is so funny. That's what makes
it is very sharp.
That's what makes me reference Clerks is when you've got sharp dialogue like that.
Yeah.
But the never leaving one place is what makes this. This is like if Clerks and Reservoir Dogs had a baby and it was a homosexual.
And they were shooting a porn film. But you know why that is? Because Mark utilizes the entire space. He's so clever at moving the camera when you're not paying attention. There's a great moment when the shot that I'm going to geek out on is he's shooting it from the ground floor up to the top of the balcony, and it's through the little wiring of
that was an amazing shot.
That is an incredible shot. I loved how the camera moves in this movie too, where it's almost like a 360 spin. It's very cool. I loved all of that. That was very super well done. But my favorite thing is the thing that Mark and I geek out about all the time when we actually have conversations about filmmaking. And I'm glad to see he utilizes this. It's something that is a lost art in film, is measuring the depth of field and pulling the depth of field out of focus and then shooting with the blur in the background. He does this perfectly with a couple of shots, and it's something that's a lost art in filmmaking these days. And I love that I got to see that. I love that it's something that we've talked about, and it's in the movie. I love that. So
for me, that's definitely that visual storytelling is. You're right. It's definitely a lost art. You don't see it a lot in a lot of the modern films, especially. Well, you also don't see it a lot now that we've got, the high definition in 4K.
Yeah.
We don't get to see that as often. You'll see that a lot in films in like the 80s. You had no choice.
Yeah, you had that's how you had to focus, right? The lenses were so narrow that you had to kind of give that focus in there.
Yeah, but
and
now
it became an artistic choice at that point.
Which I really appreciate the sort of scaling back from your purposefully downgrading from technology, because it makes it look more gritty. You really made he did a great job. Like, I didn't even realize at first that was like a set that Evan was living on.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just his apartment. Then it was like, oh, it must be like that 80s thing where people were living in old old factory spaces and all of that. But it was literally just a film set that he was living on, which was absolutely hilarious to me. And it was really well done how all the surrounding areas and everything that's in the background, how the colors are just different and they make the actors pop. That soundstage was a character in and of itself, kind of like really The Room.
I had that same thought. That's awesome that you thought that, because it's very, very similar to me. Yeah.
It was really, really well done. And I almost wanted to message my younger brother and hey, have you seen this movie yet? If you haven't, you should really check it out, because it's so well, and honestly, and this is something else that we really need. And I think that in this film and our next one that we're going to talk about is giving, is LGBTQ characters having more leading roles and not being a stereotypical side character or sidekick. Or
yeah, I mean, this movie does have stereotyping, but it leans into that, right? And
it leans more into it because they're playing.
It forces out what is true about the character too, which
right. But I'll say that just at the end of the day, it's definitely a dark comedy.
Mm-hmm.
If this isn't your bag, or if you feel sort of uncomfortable, take it from me. You're fine until you get toward the end. But you know what? I probably fast forwarded through and I'm sure, matter of fact, I can tell after I got to where, I felt a little bit more comfortable, I missed a lot of actual intimacy. But
you missed the character switch that
and I noticed it when the dialogue picked back up.
Yeah.
And I picked up on it. It took me out of my comfort zone. And listen, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally okay, but you've got to give this movie the most fairest of fair chances. And because there's certain aspects of it where it almost feels like it's going to go too far very early, and then it stops and it gives you a respite.
He cleverly uses the shots to kind of mask a little bit of that line between pornography and
correct
tourism, right? I guess you could call it.
And I definitely want to give Mark a lot of credit for, he made a film that was raw and it was true to what gay men go through. Did it without worrying about cis males like me that have a line.
Yeah.
Did it, got it done, but still did it so artfully that even I can say I missed something, so I'm probably going to have to go back to it and brave it.
Yeah.
For someone who loves story and doesn't like to miss story. So that was an amazing job.
All right. So as we've been doing all season long, we've reached out to friends of ours, colleagues, people we know. Brian doesn't necessarily, and I'm sure you don't know Elizabeth, but Elizabeth is a friend of mine who I met through Mr. S.M. Hillman, and she teaches film study, and so I thought she'd be perfect to give us a movie, and boy did she. So shout out to Elizabeth Radwitsch. This is Saving Face, and here's the trailer.
How come we never met before now?
We did meet. I was 8, you were 9. The Wong boys were taunting me.
You beat the heck out of them.
Will has a surprise for her mother.
You talked to your mother about us? Does she know we have sex?
No, Will. She thinks we conjugate Latin verbs.
Her mother
什么时候开始喝啤酒啊?
is not listening
Seriously, well, why don't you just tell her?
She knows.
She kept setting you up with guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
because she has a surprise
Huh? What are you doing here?
of her own.
Baby. Who's the father? She won't say.
Like to meet her.
You don't know my mom.
Exactly. 你有没有男朋友啊?
Do you know what kind of karmic hell I'd have to pay as a Chinese daughter who didn't take in her own mom? So marry her off.
What about Mr. Park over at Smiley's Deli?
My landlord's a Chinese guy. He's not very chatty, but he's rich.
Book him, Dano.
Now mother and daughter
你什么时候回来?
will face their fears
Kiss me, right here in front of all these people.
and find a way to find each other.
爱的是他。
Joan Chen,
喂，
真不能相信，你是我肚子里出来的。
Michelle Krusick,
妈，怎么了 ？You're beautiful.
Saving Face.
你不会也怀孕了吧？
我？没有，没有。
This was a happy surprise for me. I had never seen this movie. I knew about Alice Wu. Alice Wu is kind of one of those hard luck stories in Hollywood kind of idea. She's been through some stuff, and she's now getting back into it, which I really appreciate. She just did a Netflix movie a couple years ago. Because of the content in which she created, she kind of got a little bit of flack for it, unfairly and unnecessarily. Because this is a really, again, we're talking about uncomfortable subject matter for some people, but this movie does it so perfectly. It's really, this little dance that goes on, and the characters and the acting in this movie are phenomenal, and the look of it. I love this. Like, this felt like a 1970s sitcom to me, like a late like Rhoda or Mary Tyler Moore-esque kind of thing, and then it had a lot of like 80s stuff, like Hannah and Her Sisters kind of idea to me. It felt a lot like that, and that was really well done in that respect. I've seen a lot of things that Michelle Krusiek has done. And she's really phenomenal in this movie. She plays Will in this movie, and we'll get more into that. But Brian, what did you think of Saving Face?
This movie, here's the thing. I love the different Asian cultures.
Yeah.
I really do. I love
This is very similar to Shiva Baby in the way that it represents this culture in a lot of respects, right?
It really does. Asian culture, and I promise I'm not lumping all Asian culture into one pot because that's impossible.
Yeah.
But I was really fascinated with the Chinese culture, the Shaolin culture from, the Kung Fu flicks that were out back when we were young.
Sure.
And then I became even further fascinated with Japanese culture and Okinawan culture and South Korean culture through my exploits in martial arts. But Chinese culture...
Which is funny because for me, it was horror movies that got me into those cultures.
Yeah, for me, it was martial arts. But I really wanted to understand the philosophies around those arts. For me, it was a lot of Bruce Lee stuff, the Sonny Chiba stuff, the Shokusagi. Jet Li as well. But then looking at where Ed Parker and Professor Nick Serio, and then my Hanshi, Larry Sullivan, and Kwon Jae Nim, C.S. Kim, these different martial artists and how the philosophy of the region and of that culture shaped the combat.
Yeah.
But with Chinese culture, I think it really got me because I always felt like, and I'm not saying this to be rude or disrespectful, but there were the Asian kids that went to my school. I was so fascinated and I really wanted to know them, but they were so aloof. I would always feel like they hated me. And I mean, and I understand a lot of it, communities get close-knit. I totally get it. There were a couple kids that were, Asian students that I considered friends. And I really, really, really wanted to be more ingrained in that culture. So when these types of movies come about, I get so excited because now I can take in the beauty of the culture. And I mean, even, watching, the Bruce Lee story, for as much of that was fabricated, the one true thing where, Bruce Lee would, played by Jason Scott Lee, would say, people are so ignorant to the beauty of our culture. Let's show them.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see this.
Yeah, this movie does a really good job of taking a look at the generational separations and the conversations that go along with where each generation is and how they deal with things and how they deal with secrets too, which is very funny.
Much the same. Like the more we're different, the more we're similar.
Yeah. I love the banter here. The dialogue is fresh and snappy. The whole thing. Yeah, Will is such a polarizing character. I love that they have this like boyish innocence to them or awkwardness to them, and it's yet they are the smartest person in the room.
Always the smartest one in the room, but
and they cannot do anything right, which is the greatest thing ever.
It's that constant awkwardness. What's weird, it's kind of like when you're a kid and then you finally become an adult, but the adult still treats you like a kid.
You're right.
It's so frustrating. And it's like, yo, I'm a doctor with my own place. And then here comes mom just coming in and taking over like I'm a kid.
Yeah. How about that relationship? What a great relationship, man. What a great relationship to explore for 90 minutes. I really loved that. It's frustrating because of the way that
the way her mom
were each
was.
other. Yeah.
But at the same token, but you could see the love they had. So it made me sad because it made me miss my mom more. But at the same token, it was so fun. Joan Chen, who plays Wei Lan Gao, is Wilhelmina's mother. And she's been divorced for a lot of years. And then all of a sudden, here she is, middle-aged woman, pregnant, and won't tell anyone who the father is.
Yeah.
So she ends up having to move in with her daughter because her parents have kicked her out.
Which is the greatest line. I have three favorite lines, but that line where she goes, when is her mother going to let her back into the house? When she gets married or proves that there's such a thing as immaculate conception?
I love that.
Me up.
What did she say? She was like, yeah, I'll never like, yeah, do I really want the karma of like not letting my Chinese mother come and live with me when she's homeless? Yeah.
Well, she had no choice. Her mother
she really had zero choice.
I love that even toward the end she tries to take over, right? Where she's talking about let's paint the room red. She's like, Mom,
what are you talking about? Get your own damn house. And I love the fact that when Wilhelmina's best friend and neighbor Jay is there, and her mom is so uncomfortable.
Well, to her, to her, the way that Jay tries it, like he's talking to her like she's deaf, right? Hi, Mrs. Chan.
Like, you don't have to, but that was typical of us back in the 90s, especially.
Yeah, totally.
Hey,
totally.
Yeah, they don't speak English. So let me say it louder. Maybe if I yell, you can understand me.
I love that the first line in this movie is, I see that men's clothes are still in style. That cracked me up. and then during the dance, when they're talking about like all the things that are going on, and Wilhelmina is dancing with her other gay friend, right? And he tells her some secret. I don't remember what the secret was, and she goes, "Billion Chinese people, and we only have this 2 degrees of separation." That cracked me up too.
And what's weird, what I really appreciate is the struggle that Wilhelmina and her mother experience now.
Yeah, and 2 different journeys, but very similar.
But it's very similar because you're in this small social circle.
It's what makes this relationship so enormously compelling. Is they both are going through these things, and they're living like midlife crises, both of them in some respects, right?
And Wilhelmina's not even out of her 20s, and she's not even out of her 20s yet.
Right, turning point in their lives. Let's put it that way.
Right,
and yet they have this unspoken thing where it kind of comforts them, and yet it also separates them because they won't talk to each other about what's really going on. And when they finally do, it's like they just revert back to their stereotypes, and they kind of put the walls back up, right? And it's very interesting and fascinating, this entire thing with that.
It really is.
And the 2 of them are phenomenal in this movie. I mean, the acting in this movie is spectacular.
The acting in this movie, the way this movie is shot, the writing, it doesn't feel indie. You know, you and I have talked about it before.
I mean, it looks very indie, though.
It looks indie as far as the graininess, but...
Well, not only that, but like the minimalist of it all, right? You know?
I mean, yeah, but there are a couple of mainstream filmmakers that know how to do a minimalist.
True.
But for me, it's the acting, the writing. It doesn't feel like an indie film to me. It feels like a 90s flick. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's so well done. And for its time, tackling subject matter like this in 2005.
This is what we were alluding to earlier in the episode. This is kind of what this is. This hallmarked This is why Shiva Baby exists, is because of this movie. It really is.
Right. Because look, for those that don't remember, man, it was only 21 years ago. The early 2000s were just like
it was all about exploring, right? It was all about coming out, right?
The early 2000s is when people were finally able to come out and live their truths. And the LGBTQIA community saying, look, we're here. We're not just punchlines. We exist. And so this is a film that the subject matter is so well done that all of us can relate to.
Yeah. 100%.
And in all of our characters, from our leads to our supports, they do such an amazing job. Look, Wilhelmina should be the most confident person on screen, and she's not.
Nah, she's a mess.
She is an absolute mess.
It was great. It leads to that's the thing about this movie too. This movie's a movie. People, this is a statement. This is a turning point. This is all those things, and it deserves to be all those things. But this has a movie to it because it has the cheesy rom-com cliches, but it also has a twist to it, which is very well done and sets off one of the best scenes in the movie.
I laughed when that finally hit. When it all starts coming together, I'm like,
and again, it's all Wilhelmina, setting the embers in the fire, putting the fire on, and then the fire just explodes on her.
Absolutely. And I love how they had their graduate scene, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then I love how Wilhelmina's mother is like, nah, my baby is going to be happy too. And she tries so hard, and Wilhelmina screws that up.
You know what I also learned? Is that Steven Spielberg stole from Alice Wu, because that scene in the airport is the exact scene, this exact place that Catch Me If You Can happens in. Remember the ending of Catch Me?
Wow.
That airport, remember that hangar?
Yes.
He had to have stole that. He had to have seen that in that movie and gone, holy shit, I'm going to use that in a movie. You know,
Steven.
I'm gonna say it for Spielberg. He may never admit it, but he stole from Alice Wu. So Alice Wu, you got one up on Steven Spielberg.
Absolutely. But don't try to do a movie about a little kid in the suburbs with problems. Makes sense.
Please, again, one of my favorite things, Brian, is when a movie begins where it ends. And
Absolutely.
This begins where it ends, and I love that. I love it. It wasn't. We didn't see the ending at the beginning, but we saw the same location and the same situation where we started. That's where we end. And
I call that the Joe Compton full circle, baby.
I love that.
This movie is. It's just so good. Like
it is.
That's really literally good. All I can say. It's so good.
This is an absolute home run. We have really been lucky with these things. We're so grateful to everybody who does these for us, because you all have come correct. Every single one of these movies is a movie that I will never forget. So
no one has suggested something bad yet. So I wonder who's going to be the first. I hope it's no time soon. Everyone that's made suggestions, y'all have done so amazing.
Thank
Keep
you
it up.
so much.
Thank you. Keep it up. Keep broadening our horizons.
Let's keep them going, man. Let's not have a bad movie. Let's hope for better, even better.
Make us have to create a new award category.
Right? Yeah, I loved it. This was a really good episode. I don't think we had a stinker in the bunch. Not one that, anyway, I would say.
Not one that we would say don't watch.
Right? Yeah. I think these 4 films were really good. Thank you, as always, to my partner Brian Tan for doing this, and thank you all for watching. We're going to save you a seat for the next time. We'll be back in a few weeks with another one very soon. We got 4 new movies to bring out to you, so hopefully go see these movies. Please go check these movies out. And why, Brian?
Because it's always time to go in now.
The mother in the video store, I will never forget that as long as I live. And then the next scene, you see her on the couch, and you hear the cheesy dialogue from the porn movie going on. That cracked me the fuck up. I loved it every second.
That crushed me. That totally crushed me. I'm like, wow, bro.